curious if you knew anything about the AI and United Health connection and the health insurance company using some AI to basically deny people. It had like a 90% error rate. So it's almost like this, if it is a personal assassination, not some hired killing, and about people are saying because you had the words written on the shell casings that made it sound like it was about, deny and all this stuff. I forget the three words, but like if that is the case, it's almost like a backlash against the AI technocracy that's happening behind the curtain with all these insurance companies.
Yeah, so just real quick before I go there, just to say, if this guy has any kind of online footprint or lady or whatever,
Yep.
then a software like Clearview AI, which has been trained on basically every face on the internet, you know, with some missing, I'm sure, then it shouldn't really be that difficult to, match that with some identity online,
right,
and use various other tools to find him. So, or her, whatever, or they, whatever. But, so yeah, it would be very, very surprising, again, unless this person just lived in the dark, just never touched, never been online, for them not to have a pretty good idea who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, there's no way to know until we have somebody in custody or some manifesto or whatever exactly what the motive was. The writing on the shell casings or on the bullets was it deny, defend, and depose, or maybe it was deny, delay, depose.
Yeah.
It kind of matches a book that was published in 2010 with a similar title about how insurance companies, screw you over. So it's pretty clear the message that was being sent. But yeah, United Health or United Healthcare was embroiled for the last year, a little over a year, in a lawsuit in which they were being sued on the grounds that their AI was denying coverage, but, without any real human oversight.
Yep.
There's this human oversight. That's the wrong way of putting it. There's human oversight, but the humans who are working at the subsidiary, it's called Navi Health, and working with this AI called NH Predict, that they were instructed to remain within a margin of 1% to 3%. I've seen both reported as to what the AI is recommending. So you had these two kind of high-profile lawsuits by these two families whose loved ones had been denied coverage and the loved ones died. So that narrative was out there for the last year. And, I don't know how accurate this statistic is. I saw it just on, kind of mainstream outlet, but United Healthcare their average was around 30% denial, and the industry average is about 16%, meaning that, yeah, without a doubt, AI is being used to streamline and make it efficient, and therefore booting people out of the system. And it seems to exceed the industry standard. And then the 90%, so the 90% inaccuracy is not exactly an accurate, not exactly an accurate statistic. Basically, the way they derived that, they did a study of recent lawsuits in which people had come forward accusing insurance companies of using AI to boot somebody off of the program. And in 90% of the cases, the courts had ruled in favor of the plaintiff, meaning that 90% of the cases, the courts said that the AI was inaccurate in those cases. So it's not, who knows how accurate or inaccurate it is, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I do think that even though I think this whole push of romanticizing this guy's killing, the CEO's killing, and it's profoundly unhealthy and potentially dangerous, and the copycat effect is not going to be isolated to bad guys. The copycat effect, if it does spark off, could be anybody.
Oh yeah.
Any high-profile target. Some lunatic's like, oh, this is cool. This is what I'm going to do. So, but but that being said, it's also clear that these insurance companies are a prime example of what happens when you have a system that's already pretty anti-human, in which a corporation is basically functioning like a machine, a parasite, a massive parasite. And the AI element just makes it that much worse. It just detaches it from the human that much more. And it reveals this dark robotic face that's at once malevolent and retarded. Kind of like a demiurge, you might say.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then going back to the government and this administration we have moving in now, Elon, Teal, Teal, Vance, all these people.
And Dreesen.
Right. And I worry. So like, I like the idea. I love the idea of stripping down that government. We need it. My fear is that they're going to replace that with the AI government. And that bothers me. And then on top of that, we've already seen in the last year, the Pentagon, I believe, giving AI license to kill, right? Which is, I think, what's happening with AI Lavender in Gaza. Is that not right?
As of right now, the Pentagon's policy, stated policy, there's that again. There's the thing that's said, and there's the thing that is. But the stated policy is to keep a human in the loop with any autonomous weapons.
Okay.
To
what degree?
In Ukraine, and the AI is provided, or one of the many providers of AI, weaponized AI systems, is Palantir.
Yeah.
They've bragged about that for 2 years now, that they donated it, and that they're using it as a kind of laboratory for lethal AI and weaponry, right? And so in Ukraine, you have reports that so we know for sure that the drones being used in Ukraine, at least some of them, can operate fully autonomously. And the idea is that if the communication gets jammed up, if it gets sabotaged, then the drone can complete the kill operation without a human in the loop. So we know that's happening. And how many times that happens without a human really even being there, where they just send a drone off, say, kill this type of person, or kill, attack this kind of vehicle? Who knows?
Right.
But we know that the potential's there and the will is there, and at least sometimes that's happening. In the case of Israel, you've got Lavender, which I tend to confuse these, but so maybe I'll switch this around if I'm inaccurate.
No, it's Lavender.
You've got Lavender, which basically tracks a target, and then you've got Hapsora, translates as the gospel, which identifies what a valid target is. So in both of these AI systems are being deployed on the Gazans, and they are also notoriously inaccurate. And you have reports from at least some soldiers who are unhappy about this, Israeli soldiers who are unhappy about this, saying they're pressured to accept the output of the AI as valid and killing people at this massive scale and this massive speed. And they're not really even sure if it's a valid target. So it's, already the horror has begun. And you've got Eric Schmidt, who has long argued, Eric Schmidt, former Google CEO, who has long argued that that we will have to keep up with China and Russia and so on and so forth with our lethal autonomous weaponry up to the point of just turning it over to the AI. So the AI is making decisions not only about what is and isn't a valid target, but how to, the path to get to it, whether the attack is launched, all these sorts of things. Like, off in the future, he kind of sees this as being the leading edge of warfare. So it'll just be robots versus robots, or at least robots killing humans without humans having much to do with it.
Yeah.
So Schmidt is now, he's now a licensed arms dealer. His company White Stork is producing drones for Ukraine. You also have Palantir now. Anduril, which, that's Palmer Luckey, Peter Thiel protege, and in association with Palantir. And they are really ramping up efforts to create all sorts of different kind of AI-based and virtual reality-based weaponry, and now partnering with OpenAI. So I guess what I'm saying in general, just to this point, is that it's not just going to be producing weird psychedelic videos or saying weird things online. AI is not just going to be used to boot you off of your insurance program. AI is already being used in the process of killing human beings, and will increasingly be used to kill human beings. And I don't see anybody trying to put on the brakes.
Yeah. Can you describe what Palantir does?
Well, they were formed just after 9/11, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, and others. And so they have a lot of different AIs, right? They have a lot of different programs, but one of the ones that I did pay a bit of attention to that really took my interest. I mean, by and large, it's surveillance, right? So they're raking over communications, or government databases, or classified intel, whatever, to identify potential threats, national security threats. And in the wake of 9/11, that makes a lot of sense. They have programs that are geared towards verifying or monitoring illegal immigration, right? So in a way, that's a positive, but ultimately, if it's, if that same sort of system's turned on us, it really isn't. So, but they had this program, Meta Constellation, that they were talking, that Alex Karp was talking a lot about at the, I believe, 2022 or maybe 23 January World Economic Forum. I think it's 23 January World Economic Forum. And it is doing exactly that in Ukraine and elsewhere. Basically, it's a program for target acquisition to locate the threat itself, to identify a threat. And, again, looking at comms, looking at satellite data, all this sorts of stuff, there are humans doing it too. It's not just like some kind of, robot or some brain inside a server
not yet.
doing this.
Yeah.
But it enhances the human desire to kill.
Right.
And so, yeah, Palantir, again, they have they have their hands in a lot of different pies, everything from national security to immigration to the conducting warfare itself. But basically, Peter Thiel, whom I think is an interesting person.
Mm-hmm.
You read his writing, he's not boring.
Mm-hmm.
And, in many ways, the way he thinks is the way I think, except for this whole idea that the answer to a nightmarish acceleration, kind of rise of an Armageddon-like scenario, is to just simply build bigger and more effective machines.
Right. That's the problem is, unlike Bill Gates, I do find these guys fascinating. I do like listening to them. I think they're very interesting people, but they're building a dystopia. But they say they're building a utopia. When it comes to the surveillance state stuff, that's very bothersome. And then the stuff that you're talking about in Israel or the Palantir, is that what's going to usher in, maybe it's already here, like the programmatic policing?
It very well could be. I mean, so again, there's a lot of crossover. You see the militarization of police all over the world. So there's a lot of crossover there. And the police, of course, have all sorts of AI systems at their disposal to rake over their surveillance systems and all that. So conservatives might feel really comfortable right now as this is being built, because at least we have the appearance that this is going to be used to help us and hurt our enemies, whether political enemies at home or geopolitical rivals. But, this has been pointed out again for decades and decades and decades. When you build these systems that are hostile to human beings, it's only a matter of time before either A, your opponent takes over that system, or B, your ally becomes your opponent and is in control of that system, or C, some rival outside of that, say China or some other geopolitical rival, develops it and develops something like that on the backbone of what the U.S. has done. It's not like people talk about China, like we got to keep up with China. China is struggling to keep up with us. We've led this the entire time, and we're going to keep leading it. So, I get it. If we stop, then they may catch up. They may surpass us. It's really catch-22. That's why I say, nothing is inevitable. You could have tomorrow suddenly this mass awakening in the human species in which most people, including people in power, are like, oh my God, we're creating this nightmare technological world. We have to stop, and it'll be multilateral. We'll all decide, that this is it. And we're just going to, retreat. We're going to reconstitute the ancient traditional way and, follow the lead of our ascetic priests, and our warriors will only attack when necessary,
right,
if ever. And we'll have happy people and happy servants, and everything will be like, the Mahabharata, only better. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
What I see happening is as good as inevitable. Basically, what you have is this arms race that if you check out of it, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Because this is the system they're setting up. They're setting up a digital ecosystem. So they talk about it like it's like nature doing this, like ecosystem is evolution, man. You got to adapt. Yeah. You have to adapt to a system they've created, an artificial system that they made themselves. So, I just to tie this off, because I feel that I've gone on a bit long.
No, this is good.
Which I want to do. I really do think that one of the problems that I have with the talk about AI, as if it's its own entity, as if it's this thing. It is, in a way. You could see it that way, and in some sense, perhaps on a spiritual level, it is in fact its own kind of entity or swarm of entities entering into our material reality from some other Lovecraftian sort of dimension. But one way or the other, the people summoning it, the people in control of it right now, the people pushing it right now are people.
Right.
And so those people need to have the fingers pointed at them. You can't just point to the AI and be like, the AI is doing this and the dangers of AI. No, it's the dangers of Sam Altman's AI.
Right.
It's the dangers of Elon Musk's AI.
Yeah.
That's the danger.
Yeah.
And you have to keep the finger pointed at the human beings doing it,
Yeah.
even if they are like some kind of like, New Orleanian voodoo priesthood that's summoning the Cthulhu from beyond.